Okay, let's kick things off. We're diving deep today into one of the most talked about vehicles right now, the BYD Seagull 2026.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this isn't just, another car launch. Feels more like a real challenge to the whole global car industry.
It really is. We've got a good pile of new source material on this specific model, and our mission really is to cut through the hype.
Hmm.
Let's understand the engineering reality here.
Right.
The Seagull is being positioned as, well, arguably the most economical EV globally. It's built by BYD, the Chinese powerhouse, and it's aimed squarely at, the mass market, people looking for practical, city-friendly electric transport.
And what makes it so disruptive, I think, are those headline numbers. We're talking about a compact, pretty modern-looking car that somehow offers a range up to 405 kilometers. That's the top version.
Mm-hmm.
How do they even pair that kind of efficiency and, frankly, a modern design with a price point that, well, it rivals some used gasoline cars?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the $10,000 question here. That's the puzzle we need to solve. We have to dissect the trade-offs.
Exactly.
To hit that kind of economy target, BYD must have made some really strategic choices. Battery chemistry, motor power, maybe even vehicle structure. We need to find that engineering secret sauce.
Yeah, see if it holds up.
And see if that impressive range and the tech features they list actually translate into a competitive, reliable, global package for you, the listener.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We should probably start with the core advantage, the range.
Yeah.
Because 405 kilometers for a city car, I mean, that almost feels like overkill, doesn't it?
Well, it kind of does on the surface.
Why push the efficiency that high when, the average city commute is maybe 50 kilometers a day max?
I think part of it is about killing range anxiety, full stop, regardless of how far you actually drive day to day.
Good point.
But more fundamentally, it comes down to BYD's sort of secret weapon, the Blade battery. This is their own tech, their proprietary system.
Ah, yes, the Blade battery.
And its implications are structural, not just electrical.
Okay, tell us more about that. We keep hearing the name Blade battery.
Yeah.
But what's it doing specifically in the Seagull that helps get this balance of, low cost and high efficiency?
So what's really fascinating here is that the Blade battery primarily uses LFP chemistry. That's lithium iron phosphate.
LFP.
LFP is, well, inherently safer. It's less prone to thermal runaways compared to, say, standard NMC lithium-ion batteries. And critically, it's much cheaper to produce.
Cheaper materials. Okay.
And the Blade name, that actually comes from its physical shape. They're long, thin cells, and they're stacked directly into the chassis. It creates what they call a cell-to-pack design.
So wait, they save money on the materials and they save space by ditching the bulky modules.
Yeah.
Which gives them more room for actual energy storage cells.
Exactly. That's really clever packaging.
Yeah, it is.
And this allows the Seagull to offer two main tiers of battery capacity. So the base models, those are the Vitality and Freedom editions. They have a battery around 30 kilowatt hours, which still gives you a very respectable range, about 305 kilometers.
Which is plenty for most city use.
Mm-hmm.
And the Flying Edition, the one that gets the big number.
Right, that one jumps up.
Yeah.
It has a 38.88 kilowatt hour battery, and that pushes the estimated range to approximately 405 kilometers.
Okay, 4 or 5.
But we should probably clarify a point here for you listening. That 405 kilometer figure, it's based on the CLTC standard.
Ah, the Chinese test cycle.
Yeah, the China light-duty vehicle test cycle. It's known for being, let's say, a bit more optimistic than the EPA standard in the U.S. or the WLTP standard in Europe.
So real-world range, especially on the highway, might be a bit less.
Probably a bit less on consistent highway driving, yeah. But look, for a city car, it still represents phenomenal efficiency. It really does.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for me. The interior. Because when a company is this aggressive on cost-cutting, the inside is usually just, well, a sea of cheap plastic, right? Missing features everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But the Seagull's tech package seems surprisingly comprehensive.
It is. It's surprisingly refined for this price segment. You do get a focus on minimalism, definitely. But the core functionality, it's all there. Standard is a 7-inch digital dashboard.
Okay, digital dash.
Yeah, displays all your essential driving info, replaces the old traditional dials.
But the real standout piece of hardware seems to be the main control center, that screen that rotates.
Precisely. It's a 10.1-inch central touchscreen. Now, that ability to flip it, between horizontal and vertical, which is kind of a BYD signature.
Yeah, they do that on other models too.
Some people might see it as a gimmick, But honestly, it can be genuinely useful, like for navigation maps in vertical mode.
I can see that.
And it certainly elevates the feel of the cabin, makes it seem more modern. It runs BYD's D-Link system. It supports OTA over-the-air software updates.
Which is important.
Very important. And critically for global markets, it maintains compatibility with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Okay, but that rotatable screen, that sounds expensive. Is that BYD maybe trying to distract us from, like, cheap dashboard materials? Or is it genuinely useful tech?
The sources we looked at suggest it is useful tech, but you're right, it's also a powerful market differentiator.
It's a bit of showmanship.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah.
They note that while the materials are, quote, high quality relative to its price segment, meaning, they feel better than you'd expect for maybe $10,000.
Okay.
The screen is definitely the flashiest bit. It's designed to immediately grab your attention and scream modern vehicle, not just some stripped down electric appliance.
Gotcha. Okay, so we know it's efficient, surprisingly modern tech inside. If the core sacrifice here is achieving that low cost, where did they make the biggest cut? Let's talk about the engine, the performance, the practical driving feel.
Right. The biggest trade-off is clearly performance, no question. This is where the Seagull absolutely confirms itself as an urban commuter. It's not a long-distance highway cruiser.
Right.
It uses a single permanent magnet synchronous motor, and it drives the front wheels, FWD.
And the power output reflects that city focus, I imagine.
Correct. We're looking at a maximum power of 55 kilowatts. That translates to about 75 horsepower.
75 horsepower.
Okay. Paired with 135 newton meters of torque. Now, that's fine for, navigating traffic, getting up to city speed limits.
Yeah.
But the acceleration curve is telling. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes around 13 seconds.
13 seconds. Oof. That's quite slow by modern standards, isn't it?
It is.
To put that in perspective for you, a standard compact gasoline sedan, even a basic one, is probably hitting that same mark in maybe 8 or 9 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. You won't be winning any drag races off the line in this.
Definitely not.
And this is directly linked to the other crucial limitation, the top speed. It's capped. Limited to about 130 kilometers per hour.
130 kilometers max.
Okay. Now, this isn't just about protecting the battery, though that's part of it. Capping the top speed like that significantly reduces the required complexity of the cooling system.
Ah, interesting engineering point.
Yeah. It limits stress on the powertrain components. And ultimately, it allows them to spec a lower-cost motor and inverter. So this one decision cuts cost on multiple major expensive components all at once.
That's actually pretty clever. A calculated engineering choice to just max out affordability.
Absolutely. It's ingenious in its focus.
So if it's really designed to live its life in the city, then charging speed and convenience become paramount, right? How fast can you juice it up, say, during a lunch break?
It does support DC fast charging, generally operating in the 30 to 40 kilowatt range.
Okay, 30, 40 kilowatts.
And because the battery packs are relatively small, 30 or just under 39 kilowatters, that speed is actually quite efficient in practice.
Right, fills up faster.
Exactly. You can get from a 30% state of charge up to 80% in approximately 30 minutes.
Half an hour, 30 to 80. That's pretty good for a quick stop.
Yeah, that's excellent for a quick top-up if you need it.
And for those charging, at home or maybe at work overnight.
AC charging, well, depending on whether you have the smaller or the larger pack, typically requires between 4.3 and 5.6 hours for a full charge, from empty to full.
So easily done overnight.
Yeah, perfectly manageable for overnight charging, no problem there. Now, what's also critical here, especially when you're talking about an entry-level Chinese-made vehicle, is safety confidence.
Yeah, that's a big one.
You might expect corners to be cut, right? But the sources we have actually paint a surprisingly rigorous picture when it comes to its structural integrity.
So it's not just cheap and efficient. It's reasonably safe, too. You mentioned a 3A rating in Chinese testing earlier.
That's right. It achieved a 3A rating in the quite rigorous Chinese microelectric car assessment testing. Showed a solid overall average score of 92.2%.
Wow, okay.
And looking at the specific results cited in our sources, apparently scored 100% perfect inside collision tests.
100%.
Yep. And a very strong 78.79% in frontal collision tests.
That's reassuring. And what about the standard safety features? The things we just expect now, like stability control, ABS. Are those included even in the base models?
Yes. The essentials are standard across the board. You get ESC, electronic stability control, ABS, anti-lock braking, TPMS, the tire pressure monitoring system, and dual front airbags.
Okay, the basics are covered.
Basics are covered. The higher flying trim does step up the protection a bit by including side and curtain airbags as well.
Right. And perhaps the biggest confidence boost, especially for a budget-conscious buyer, has got to be that warranty package. It's kind of hard to overlook that.
It really is. It's one of the primary selling points they push. A generous 6-year or 150,000-kilometer warranty.
6 years, 150K.
And this coverage extends to the entire car and, crucially, includes the high-tech, low-cost Blade battery pack itself.
That's huge for battery peace of mind.
It is. That's a guarantee of reliability that competes directly with vehicles costing, 2 or 3 times as much. Big selling point.
Okay, let's shift to market position then. The BYD Seagull is entering a, well, pretty crowded compact EV space these days. Who are its main rivals as it rolls out globally? And what really makes it stand out from them?
Well, its main weapon is definitely the price, no doubt, but it still faces challenges, both internal and external. Internally, believe it or not, it competes with BYD's own slightly larger models, like the Dolphin.
Ah, interesting. Cannibalization potential.
Potentially, yeah. Externally, the key rivals mentioned in the source material include cars like the MG4 EV, the MG ZS EV, the Hyundai Kona Electric, and also the Jack E30X.
Okay, so a mix of Chinese and established global brands.
Exactly. It's generally fighting against cars that are often slightly larger, maybe offer a bit better highway performance, but none of them can really touch its entry-level affordability. That's its ace.
Let's talk about that affordability again, because it really is the foundation of this whole deep dive, isn't it? That starting price in China, under $10,000 US.
Yeah, that starting price in China for the absolute base model is approximately $9,650 USD, give or take with exchange rates.
9,650.
That price just creates shockwaves globally because it proves that manufacturing a truly affordable modern EV, it's possible right now, not some future promise.
But the huge challenge for BYD then is translating that incredible local price point into global sales, right?
Okay.
You've got taxes, tariffs, shipping costs, local regulations. How does the price look in some of the key global markets that our sources mentioned?
Right. The cost structure definitely shifts once you factor all that in, import duties, local taxes, but the Seagull still seems to remain highly competitive.
Okay, give us some examples.
For example, in Jordan, the starting price is around 14,900 JOD. That includes their local taxes.
14.9 JOD.
In Morocco, you can find the entry model starting at about 209,900 Man ID.
Okay.
Right? Even in markets like the UAE, where vehicles often show up first through, let's say, non-official import channels, units are starting around 44,000 to 48,000 AED.
44 to 48,000 dirhams. Still sounds very competitive for a new EV there.
It is, and reports from Egypt indicate prices ranging up towards 1,260,000 EGP, though that market has specific factors. But in pretty much every case, this price point puts immense pressure on rivals selling their established, often more expensive models.
Okay, let's try and synthesize all this info for you, the listener. Let's create a balanced summary of the Seagull's real value proposition. What are the key advantages? The things that make this car a potential market changer?
Okay, the primary selling points boil down to: first, that aggressive, incredibly low competitive price. Second, the excellent city range, thanks largely to that Blade battery tech. Third, the fast DC charging capability, which is good for its segment. And fourth, the modern, compact design paired with surprisingly decent tech inside, like that rotatable screen. It basically redefines value at the entry level.
It really seems to. And on the flip side, what did BYD deliberately sacrifice to hit that, let's call it, $9,650 starting point? What are the limitations, the trade-offs that a buyer absolutely must accept?
The sacrifices are mainly in 2 areas: size and speed.
Size and speed, okay.
You have pretty limited rear passenger space, especially for taller adults. It's tight back there. And the standard cargo volume, the boot space, is quite small, only 230 liters.
That's tiny.
It is, although the seats do fold down if you need to carry larger items occasionally.
Right.
But the most critical trade-off, the one you really need to be aware of, is the just average highway performance. That's defined by that 130-kilometer top speed and the leisurely 13-second acceleration time. This car is simply not built for sustained high-speed travel between cities.
City car, through and through.
Absolutely. And finally, a practical point. In some smaller regional markets, the sources mentioned Kuwait and Oman specifically, the challenge of getting parts and reliable service availability might still be ongoing, though it seems to be rapidly improving in larger markets like Egypt and the UAE.
Okay, so to sum up our deep dive here,
Yeah.
the BYD Seagull 2026 really looks like a masterclass in efficiency and cost management. It's a tightly packaged, super budget-friendly EV that seems to expertly sacrifice highway power and maybe some marginal luxury features in exchange for unbeatable affordability and really efficient city performance.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, I mean, this car is probably the clearest sign yet that the technology exists right now to bridge the gap for truly affordable, truly functional electric vehicles.
It lowers the barrier to entry dramatically.
It really does. It shows all the other global manufacturers that the price floor has just dropped significantly. And this car, the Seagull, it feels poised to fundamentally change what people think of as an entry-level vehicle, not just for EVs, but maybe for cars in general across all continents.
Which leaves us with an important question for you to think about. Does the Seagull's rock-bottom price justify giving up the flexibility of a true highway cruiser and, yeah, some trunk space? Especially when that same low price point in many Western or emerging markets often only buys you a pretty old, high-mileage used gasoline car these days.
Yeah, that's the core question, isn't it? What compromises are you willing to make for that price?
Something for you to mull over or maybe explore on your own.